that follow you actually want.
Hmm.
And you do those two things, and you'll be a better leader than 99% of the entire world. Period. I mean, vast majority of people don't even know what the leader behaviors are, and they never thought about whether their people respected and trusted them.
Yeah.
And the simple reality is, if you're going to lead a team of people that's going to lead an organization, how do you not know that? And how do you not care about it? That you have to care about.
I got to do some reading, man, because, like, I think you showed me that stuff years ago, but I haven't read it for a while. So I got to figure out how to become a better leader. I might be really sucking at it and thinking I'm like having this illusion that I'm pretty good.
I never had the perception that you were bad at it. I always thought that we got tripped up with some very interesting technology issues.
Oh yeah.
You know, because the one thing, you know, probably 25 years ago, I would have completely dismissed the external environment. Pretty much I figured if you weren't a complete idiot, you could do the things that you needed to do, and in the end, the right things would happen.
Mm-hmm.
I think your experience and somewhat mine would say that, I mean, I had an IP attorney send us, I had a general counsel send us one of those crazy intimidation letters the other day.
Mm-hmm.
And so I handed it to my IP attorney, and she laughed her fanny off and said, "Bring it on. This is fun, because this person doesn't know what they're doing." Yeah. And look, in the end, it was one letter and one response, and you know, you spend $2,500, which is nothing, as you know, and on a letter, by the way, just to be clear.
Right.
And so the response is they vanish off the earth because they know better, because we do have better IP than our competitors do, and that's important. But they're, you know, like Mark Cuban says, and I think Mark Cuban's full of sheep dip about half the time, but one of the things that he does say that I think is interesting is that you got to be paranoid constantly about somebody's coming to take your house. Somebody wants your stuff. My wife and I very much have this observation. I mean, even in our own family, people are like, "It's not fair." And I'm like, what the hell's not fair? I left a lifetime contract at an academic institution, put my house and everything I had on the line. Now things are really, really different. I'm trying to figure out what part of this is not fair. I mean, I worked 100 hours a week for 23 years, literally, still working ridiculous numbers of hours. Probably will till I'm 65, I'm 55. I mean, I'm just really hung up on this not fair.
Right.
You know, I found that part super interesting.
Yep.
Now, here's the most important thing about all of this, is that this creates calculable risk. Okay? And we have a concept called the risk exponent. And the risk exponent is literally the additional risk created by leadership team and culture on the organization. And a vast majority of risk that most organizations face, I think your particular, you know, first big venture in your life, Evident, is a good example of the risk came from other places, external forces. But for the vast majority of people, that's not where their risk comes. Most of the time, their risk is in their house. It's inside. So let me tell you how specific this gets. We can predict, I mean, we've worked with senior executive teams, about 500 of them, thousands of teams overall. We've predicted consistently 400 and something times in a row the amount of EBITDA that the team was leaving on the table just by changing the functionality of the team.
Wow.
Now, that doesn't mean that people actually want to hear that message. Because let's be honest, it's way more fun to say, it's all them sumbitches out there. It ain't me. It ain't us. It's the outside, and they're coming in to get us, and it's all of that. No, it's not. Your strategy sucks because you're not aligned. You're not executing well because you're not aligned. Y'all don't trust each other. You just got hit in the head and lost $400 million in revenue. And by the way, somebody over here actually knew that. They knew that piece of information that you got hit in the side of the head with. So
that's a pretty good track record, man. Like, I'm just trying to think for me, like I got a small team at my job. And like I said, I always fancy myself as a good leader. I'm worried that I'm not strategically aligned with everybody either. Like what you're saying. I mean, we had a strategy meeting just today, and to me, strategy was, all right, here's where we want to go, boys. Like, here's how much money we have to do it. Here's the resources. What do we need to do to go get it done? Getting everybody rallied up to say, okay, we're going to do these steps. So it's more, I guess my strategy is more task-based or something like that. Maybe I need to rethink it a little bit.
Which is fine, and that's where it has to get to. But if the folks don't understand things the same way that you do, they're going to literally pull apart. And in the end, especially in a startup company, there's no resources for such thing.
Mm-mm.
I mean, it just doesn't exist. There's no money for it.
Yep. You're right. I mean, the good thing is we trust each other, and I think we have open communication, but I guess you never fully know if you are fully communicating with others. I feel like we do, but don't know.
So the alignment and the decision making is a big deal. How they lead when they leave you is also a big deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What do they do when they're not in the room? What kind of culture are you rooting up at the beginning?
Yeah.
That becomes the big deal.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. I think drinking is a major part of everybody's culture at my work, so that's good.
Well, it depends on what you're drinking.
Very true, right?
You can see back there in the corner, there's a little bit of bourbon in this office. So
I've had my fair share of bourbon. That's actually my go-to. I'm gonna go drink heavily right after this interview. Actually, you've inspired me.
So look, in the end, the thing to keep in mind is that you do actually have control of most of the risk. You just need to know that it's there, and you can't assume that it is when it's not. So that's the critical.
That stuff is hard to get at. Are there any references and stuff like that you can send me? I mean, this is the things you've been working on this for decades, man.
Yeah, we have. I mean, I can send you some content and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But, as far as how to calculate the risk, Hunter needs to go to college, and so we tend not to give that out. So.
Well, I'll take whatever you can give me, and I'll use it as a additional reading material for students that want to learn more. Because this, I'll use this for a while coming up. This type of interview. So
it is and the interesting thing is if you go out to the literature, the entrepreneurship literature, it's always interesting, leaving academia completely 13 years ago, still in two domains, in opportunity recognition and in, new venture top management teams, if you're going to write on it, you still have to cite me. Our site count's still going up.
That's good.
So
Well,
it's
I know
interesting.
you came in and helped me in the early days of Evident Technologies, man, and I have the utmost respect for you. So
That's very kind.
but
the risk is calculable, and it's real. So keep the Severino Center alive. It's been a great thing.
I'll do what I can, man. This is
and the old man from Boston, I always liked him. Actually, I thought Paul was a great guy.
Oh yeah, I've actually never met him.
He was in the center all the time 15, 16, 17 years ago.
Yeah. We'll keep it going, man. You come up for a
visit.
Keep it going.
Sometime.
Don't be afraid to visit upstate New York. I'll take you fishing.
Yeah, well, I have to quarantine for 14 days coming from North Carolina, so I'm gonna let that one go for a while.
All right, I got you.
Take care, Clint.
Hey, man, thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. See you.